Hey everybody, it's 90 Day Fiance Recap Chat. Happily Ever After, one of the spin-offs of the 90 Day Fiance franchise, where two couples, well, I'll say two people come together as a couple, one from the US, one from another country. They navigate relationship aspects as well as language barriers, cultural differences, and trying to learn all those things, as well as going through the 90-day process, being a fiance to being a spouse, all of these legal ramifications. And we just learned so much about that, as well as different countries and cultures. It is 90 Day Fiance reality show on TLC. And again, this is one of the spin-offs, Happily Ever After. So let's get into these couples on the latest episode. Starting with Manuel and Ashley. Their issue is they haven't been on the same page. And I was surprised when Manuel came to Ashley because he's usually joking. He's usually like Mr. Macho Machismo, and he just doesn't take anything seriously. He takes everything kind of as a joke. He kind of puts her down as just being like a silly woman. But this time he came to her, asked her was she still angry. He started to break down and get upset. The issue was he still talking to his baby's mother? At this time, they are married and he's living in the U.S. with her. Money has been an issue where she's had to give him money to help his family, also including his children with this other woman. Her issue was, hey, I didn't know you were talking to the kid's mom at that as often. You basically acted as if you guys barely talked or communicated. So now she's finding out that, kind of through the friend and in that situation that they're talking. I guess he now reveals monthly. He talks about his mom having trouble with her arm, why they need the money month to month. So he kind of opened up, and that's what she was missing. She was asking him to open up and stop basically not revealing things as if it's a secret. But I think he was trying to be Mr. Everything is perfect. I'm Mr. Macho Man and nothing's wrong. He was trying to put up that facade. And he wasn't being transparent with her as to what was really going on. And he said, basically it's emotional and it hurts. He doesn't really want to talk about it. And he really did break down. So I respect the fact that he, came forward with this information. He was transparent at this time. I'm hoping that it's all legit. But she said basically this is what, I'm here for you. And basically, guys, that's what marriage is all about. We can't just keep up this facade. He's acting like a scenario of, I'm someone that's been dating and trying to keep up appearances, so to speak. But you guys are married, you're in this, and it's okay to open up and be yourself, and even share your heart in even the sad times. But I do feel like he comes from like a very macho environment, and he maybe feel that feelings need to be hidden. You need to act like the man and you have everything together at all times. Even with your wife, you need to have control or appear to look like you have control. But I'm hoping that breaks for him and that he just comes to her in this vulnerable state, and they both can do that with each other. Because that's very important in a marriage. You just be able to be yourself, even in the good times and the bad times. You don't have to be perfect. And if you are trying to, act like everything's perfect, it's gonna look like a secret. It's gonna look like some lies. It's gonna look like something is wrong. So it's best to just be honest and truthful with your partner, and don't try to put on a front, because it can look like something else is going on, and it can cause a lot of issues in a marriage, which was what was going on with these two. All right, now let's go with Michael and Angela. Last we saw Michael, it seems like he was in a group for Nigerian men marrying U.S. women. In the group, there was a Caucasian older woman in the group, and it kind of mirrors their relationship because she's an older Caucasian woman and he's a younger Nigerian man. I believe he is from Nigeria. Correct me if I'm wrong, he's from an African country. But again, I could be wrong with some of these facts. I'm only human, so email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com if that's the case. But they decided to continue the process anyway, even though she was unsure of his intentions, if he was scamming or scheming. But he's saying, I was just learning how to go through this process so that I could finally go to the States with you. It's been a 7-year process of their whole relationship and getting married and all of that. So finally, he passed the test, his interview, and Angela kind of kept it quiet between for her daughter and her grandkids. So they're thinking, they're on the out still, and she's not sure what she's gonna do. But it's Christmas at the time of this recording that we're watching on the show live. And she's like, what, I think my luggage is at the door. It's late at night. And they're like, nah, it's late. Like, why would your luggage be at the door? When the kids open the door, they're surprised, they're happy, they love him. Like, I didn't know how much they loved him, but Angela revealed that. And then you could really see it as he came in the house. They were all hugging him like he was Santa. It's supposed to be Christmas time for them at that time. And they talk about she shows him around the house and different amenities, and he's liking this. He's liking what she has to offer in America. Not to say that that's the only thing he wants, but he's happy about the accommodations. But when he gets into her bedroom, it's kind of has some hoarder status there. It's kind of stuff all over the place. They're tired. They just want to go to sleep, but there's really not much space on the bed. She kind of had it made up, but she had a bunch of stuffed animals on it. So he's going to have to deal with that. Whatever that is, we'll see as we continue to watch. But he seems like he's up for it. Angela says you're going to have to help around the house and do all these different things. She has a ton of grandkids. Her daughter lives there as well. I thought it was beautiful to see her grandkids. She has biracial grandkids and white grandkids. And I just thought that was just beautiful to see, the connection with people of color, but also, the fact that, there's a white brother or sister and they have a direct relative of color. People probably might ask some questions and all of this, but I just think it's a beautiful situation. I do wonder what is the dynamic when they go out and all of that. But her grandkids really act like her as well. Her daughter does too, but her grandkids really take after her. Honestly, some of them really even look a lot like her. And I thought that was really cute. But I thought it was also beautiful to see just the combination of colors in their family. And I hope I don't sound weird by saying it, but I thought it was a beautiful thing. One thing I like about this show is combining of cultures. Sometimes there can be a culture clash, but sometimes there can be a unity there, similar to what I see with Kobe and Emily's family as well. And speaking of Kobe and Emily, Kobe wants them to move to Cameroon. We saw the Cameroonian wedding. We saw how amazing the family and loving they were and embracing on both sides is really great. But, Emily's kind of upset because the last day they're there, he's like, you know what, I'd like to move here for maybe like a couple of years. And she's like, no, you're bringing this on me last minute. It's a no. And he's like, well, I'm not going to take no for an answer. At that moment in time, I don't know if he told that to her, but he told us, he's going to try to make this happen. So he's discussing it with the family. Her parents are there. And they're kind of like, no, the U.S. is better. It's a privilege to live in the U.S. I don't think you should try to raise a family here, So we saw the beautiful unity part and all the love, which I think is real. But when it came down to moving to Cameroon, taking the kids and Emily there, it's like, this was like fun for a vacation, fun for 2 weeks. But for lifestyle, we don't know. Again, I do think the love is real and the unity is real, but at the end of the day, I don't really know, if you're used to the American lifestyle, you can feel some type of way. And I don't fully think that race is the issue, because I think anyone that lived in America versus living in another country that may not have as much privilege, and even those that don't have a lot in the US, there's still some benefits that they may have that you may not have in some of these other countries. So, I mean, anyone could possibly feel that way, and many people might fight for, yes, I want to live in America, but I just kind of felt like a little bit of a 180, I'll say, when it comes to that situation. And the unity wasn't so united at this point. I understand where he's coming from. He wants his kids to know their roots. They are part white and part African Cameroonian. So I understand that that's what he's looking at. He's saying, I can have a job and have a good place for us. We'll do pretty decent. Well, the opportunities aren't as good as it is in America, is kind of what they're saying. So we'll see how this conversation continues. But he says, he's not taking no for an answer, and he does at some point want to live there. My suggestion, because I'm also from America too, I do see the benefits of living in America. I don't have a whole lot going on for me financially, but there are some benefits that America has that other countries don't have, and I do see that. I would say that being, a young person, and I didn't always get to connect with both sides of my family, because I do come from a home with a single mom. But we would go visit my grandparents once a year, and my cousins and whatnot. And we kind of got to connect with them. So I think that was a great experience for me in getting to know them. It's not the same as going to another culture, another country. But if they make like annual visits, I think that will be something that, they could get used to. It will be helpful for them to learn, even though it'll take more time. It won't be a day-to-day thing, but for them to be like, okay, we're going to our family trip. It's going to be Cameroon every year, and we're going to enjoy the family, learn about the culture. Maybe they should start there and then see where they can go further. I mean, they can also, save up some money, try to build up what they have in the U.S. and go down to Cameroon. I think he was saying that financially it may be feasible for them to have a house there because everything's cheaper there. They may be able to afford to do so. But I think that would be great for them to have a house there as well as the U.S. also. It can be a tricky thing when it comes to financials, but to be able to know your family roots and connect with that's priceless, and that's going to be important for them as in their foundation of their life as they grow up. So I hope that they can figure that situation out. With Alexia and Lauren, last time Lauren unveiled her new look. She had on a dress that reminded them of the old times, and he just wanted to kind of reminisce and enjoy and celebrate her getting better and healing from her mommy makeover surgery, which was strenuous for him. He had a lot to do, and he had a lot on his back. So that's what he thought the dinner was about, to celebrate. But she wanted to talk about starting her career, being kind of the mom and the career woman at the same time. And to me, he was really misogynistic with his response. She wanted him to be her cheerleader. And he was like, a man's not going to be a cheerleader for a woman. And he's happier with her doing what she's doing at home. That's going to benefit him more. It was very one-sided and selfish. But, they talked again. And then they did a lunch date together. And he really seemed to open his mind up a little bit more with the situation. She said, he wasn't being supportive. He's like, well, yeah, I do want you to see that I've been supportive through this whole mommy makeover surgery thing that you did. A long time it's taken for you to heal. We have to raise 3 young kids, and I'm kind of have all the weight on me, which I understand, and I'm happy that he did this. But then when it comes to career and stuff, he kind of broke down a bit and was like, okay, I'm open for you to try to do this. And she's like, well, there's other ways, it doesn't have to be a 9 to 5. We can have an unconventional, we can have a different type of situation, different type of scheduling. So it doesn't have to be like a full-time commitment. We'll figure this out. I want to contribute to the family. So, he says, okay, I love you, I support you. And it was really sweet. And, she kissed him on his hand, which was a little weird, but I mean, I think he kissed her on the hand back. But that's fine. I was happy that they were back together, and not that they ever left each other, but they were back on the same page, on the same team, supporting each other. I think it happened rather quickly, though. He still had a little bit, thinking about himself, but he said he didn't really want to lose their situation with her being the mom, taking care of him and the kids. He didn't want her focus to be on this career. I guess he felt like he would be left out and the kids would be left out, and she would redirect her attention to something else, and they wouldn't get that attention any longer. So he maybe was being a bit of a baby there, but I think it was a little bit sweet that he felt, she's gonna leave us out and maybe not be around for us as much, and we're gonna just miss her. Maybe that was his thought process. But they're back on the same page, so that's a good thing. Patrick, Thais, and her dad Carlos, and John, and little Elise, they're all together, and Patrick is trying to take this time. It looks like they're out on a boat in the water area, trying to connect. Carlos is trying to connect with Patrick, or Patrick is trying to connect with Thais's dad, Carlos, where she's asking him, okay, there was issues in the past of him not knowing the situation, but he wanted Patrick to ask for her hand and for her blessing from him, which never happened. So he's trying to kind of make up for that. But Carlos seems to be bonding with his brother John more than he's bonding with Patrick. I see him putting in a little effort, but Carlos is kind of shutting him down, and he goes sit and has beers with his brother John. They don't even speak the same language, but it seems as if they have more of a camaraderie than Patrick and Carlos does, even though Patrick learned how to speak Portuguese. He knows the language. Carlos is saying, he's not putting in much of an effort. He feels like John is putting in more of an effort to get to know him than Patrick is. But when you think about it, Patrick is a father. He's holding hands with his wife. He's got the little baby, which I know he has to help with as well. But, there may be some standoffish feelings with Pat. Pat does seem kind of nervous about the situation with Thais' dad, and maybe Carlos is feeling that, and there's a disconnect there. So, I hope that works out, and I hope that these guys can kind of get together, connect, and be family and resolve this issue. Because Thais, she wants everything to work out, and for him to properly ask for her hand. Everything's squashed with her dad. Everything's good. Maybe though there are different types of men, and they may never fully mesh and be like buddy. But if they have a mutual respect for each other, then that may be all that you can get and all that you can ask for, because everybody just doesn't match up and don't have that connection. But it looks like he has that connection with his brother John, maybe because they're both man's men in some type of way, and Patrick may not be so much like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's go to Jasmine and Gino. Again, they're fighting. Jasmine has entered this pageant where he's trying to support her in that because of her depression. She's going through alopecia. She's homesick. All these different things. As she's now in America and's been there for a minute. But this is giving her purpose. This is giving her joy. But Gino is kind of a self-proclaimed expert when it comes to the pageant world because of his connections of trying to be Michigan man back in the day and kind of learning from those pageants for men. So he's always critiquing her, saying she doesn't have what is it, great posture. She has to work on her walk, and every time he sees her, he always has those negative comments to say. So she's like, just back away from that part. Just come and see me during the presentations, but don't come to the rehearsals. I don't want you to critique me any longer. And it was kind of understandable that she wanted him to be on her side and supportive and not looking at her through the lens of a manager or a coach or something like that, but just being her husband and being supportive. So he's kind of resentful of that. He's in a way still critiquing when he goes to the shows in different portions of the pageant. And finally, when they get back to the hotel, they start fighting again. She keeps bringing up again the situation with him not having sex with her. And he's saying, she keeps being so negative and she's getting uglier to him by the day. That it's deeper than that. It's not just about sex. And why does she keep bringing that up? She's saying they haven't had sex for months. She accuses him of self-pleasing himself, and basically that's their issue that keeps being rehashed over and over again. Things aren't looking good between them. And she just feels like he needs to be more supportive. He's saying, well, I paid to get you into the pageant, all these different things. It's not just about money. She's not feeling the love, and I don't think he fully understands that. I do see him being hard, critiquing on her. When she did ask his opinion, which I don't know why she's still asking if she doesn't want to know, he wasn't as hard on her, but there was a little critiquing. To me, I just feel like, she feels like she's not wanted because of not having sex, and, she's saying he has different preferences. This may or may not be true. He's saying it's because of her attitude that he doesn't want to be intimate with her. And again, it's been months. But then I was also thinking to myself, maybe they just have different sex drives and they've always had different sex drives. Maybe if you talk to Gino's ex and maybe he's always had that type of sex drive, maybe she likes it more than he does. I mean, I know it seems backwards to a lot of people, but all men don't want to have sex all the time. And then there are some women that do want to have sex all the time. It's backwards to what people are used to hearing, but it's definitely a possibility. And that could also be an issue too. I mean, if he shouldn't be afraid to say, I just don't have that high of a libido. I don't have that high of a sex drive. And I'm not trying to constantly have sex all the time. And I do understand the fact that if somebody's always fighting with you and putting you down, which is kind of what she was doing during their fight, he didn't put her down the way she puts him down. She kind of jabs pretty low in the gut there. If I was someone, especially if you're a man and someone talks down to you like that, I definitely understand why you may not want to have any interest in that. And if you really know the person wants that, then you're really probably not going to give them that because you're already upset with them at the first place. So you're not going to give them the exact thing that they want. Why do that if you're upset and angry? So, they kind of had the biggest fight during the episode. Finally, with Rob and Sophie, Rob wakes up, I guess after he had his great trip back home in his hometown for his birthday. There was a woman there at the club that took interest in him that worked in the bottle service area. He was with his friends, with his mom. He said he felt loved in that environment. And to come home knowing that Sophie was gone, still hanging with her girlfriend, staying at her girlfriend's house, who, by the way, is lesbian. And Sophie has let us know that she is bisexual. So, different things I'm sure are running through his mind when it comes to that whole scenario anyway. But he's saying, he can't really do this anymore. They just keep going back and forth and not coming to a resolution. So, he's like, I'm coming to talk to you. He calls her when he gets her the friend's apartment, and he's gonna do it. Is this the end of Rob and Sophie's relationship? They've had their ups and downs. There's like almost a 10-year age difference. I'll say maybe an 8-year age difference. She's still in her 20s. I do think she needs to grow up in certain ways, but I also think he needs to grow up as well in certain ways. They're still acting like they're dating and not acting like they're married, and maybe they need to figure out what marriage is. But they're married now, and things just aren't going well. So Rob seems like he's at the end of his rope. So I don't know what's going to happen between them. I don't know if he should let things go or continue. To me, I kind of feel like a sense of relief almost if he does. I just wonder how she's going to react to this information, because she's also been feeling that she may leave the scenario too, but for him to do it first, how is she going to react? That's like my main thought. What is going to be her reaction if he closes all doors and ends things? For me, I feel like even if he does end things, the door may be open or cracked a bit. There may still be a chance for them, but I really don't know at the end of the day. So this is our recap chat of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. If I missed anyone, let me know. What are your thoughts and comments? Drop them in the comment section or email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's CBIZTV@yahoo.com, where we talk about faith, love, and trends. All the best. Talk to you guys next time. God bless.